All right, so I wanted to talk real quick about the differences between traditional transgressive fiction and modern idealized fiction. Um, Transgressive fiction, as anyone who's researched the genre might know, has to do with the breaking of social taboos, right? Uh, when it comes to use of narcotics or sexual deviancy, for example. Um, Traditional transgressive fiction uh, shows the direct consequences and real world implications of breaking these taboos. Basically, it shows the repercussions and ramifications of what happens when people do illegal things. Um, and in many of these stories, the reason they do these things is because the characters have come to view the traditional constraints of societal law as meaningless. So there's an undercurrent of nihilism that ultimately leads these characters to do illegal activities within the context of the stories themselves. Now, idealized fiction, which is where a lot of the controversy surrounding certain genres of anime and manga, for example, come in. Specifically, when we talk about genres like lolicon and shotacon, for example, it takes away the consequences and leaves only an idealized depiction and portrayal of these illegal acts. Like, anyone who knows about those two specific genres know that they contain acts that would be illegal in real life. That it's just, I guess it's just what the genre is. you know, but I would consider those more of a fake or pseudo transgressive style rather than traditional transgression, specifically because those genres do not show the consequences of those actions. And that's where I feel like a lot of the concern really is. It does not show the consequences of doing, illegal things in lolicon and shotacon anime. It sort of projects it as just something that happens and something that's normal. That's where a lot of the concern with these two specific genres come in. And to be a bit more specific and blunt about what I mean, in these genres, it features characters who appear to be underage in very adult scenarios. So, yeah, that's where a lot of that distinction I feel comes in, is because there's a pretty clear line between how it's handled between both styles. Um, with everything that's happened in the real world regarding Jeffrey Epstein and more recent events regarding teachers being caught committing inappropriate conduct against students, in schools and whatnot. Um, it makes sense that people are concerned about what kind of messages these specific genres are sending to people. Like, obviously you don't want to encourage people to commit real world crimes, and this is where much of the argument, between different factions of the anime community comes in. Like, there's debate about whether this specific type of content should be illegal because it does not show the consequences. And um, yeah, because traditional transgressive fiction, things like the actual novel Lolita, for example, they are protected here in the United States under the standards of the Miller test. But when it comes to things like lolicon and shotacon, um, the lines are a lot blurrier. Like, no one's really certain about the legalities of it. Um, so that's something I should probably investigate more myself. But I just wanted to point out that there is a known distinction between traditional transgressive fiction and modern concepts like lolicon and shotacon. That they are there's they are two entirely distinct subsets of fiction. uh, I mean, Lolicon and Shotokan was inspired by Lolita, but it did not take the actual consequences of the novel itself into account. And that's what has people concerned about these specific depictions, is that there's the fear of normalization, and like there's a fear of acceptance and tolerance for that kind of behavior. Now, uh, it's kind of a really nuanced topic, and hard to dissect because there's so many layers to it. Like, for a normal, well-adjusted person, obviously they're not going to go out and commit some kind of heinous, fucked up act because they saw it on TV. But when you have people who are already mentally ill, um, who may engage with that kind of content and then go out and do something terrible, you have to factor that in as well. So that's why there's so much debate and contention about this right now, is because we're kind of looking at how this kind of content impacts a normal person versus someone who's already prone to mental issues. So, um, and obviously, there's been a whole bunch of real world examples, like I said, with Epstein and the teachers engaging in inappropriate conduct. So it is a very difficult issue to try to dissect and distill into a short video such as this. But I'll let you guys discuss it in the comments and voice your opinions and whatever. This was just an observation that I've noticed now that I've actually begun researching these things more for myself. So I guess just leave your 2 cents in the comments, say what you have to say, and we'll see what's actually happening here. Like, let's see if we can get to the core of the truth and the bottom of what's happening.